Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, everybody. I guess everybody's a bit warmed up after Iron Viz, so we can expect some good cheers and shouting and some whoops, etc. Welcome, everybody. My name's Johnny Walker. I work on the Tableau Public team, and welcome to my favorite session of TC. Yeah. Fanalytics. Where are the screens? The screens are over here. Fanalytics. Yeah, for some reason they seem to have allowed me back to MC this thing from last year. I have no idea why they've given me this job again. I think it was probably Taha's decision. You saw Taha in Iron Viz. Yeah, it was dangerous. But of course, you know, I'm up here. The team has worked really hard to pull this together. And we have, well, they had an agenda. And then I suddenly thought, well, no, you know, I'm up here speaking. I'm going to do whatever I want whilst I'm up here. I don't care what these guys are. So it is a little bit dangerous. So here's tonight's agenda. So there is only one speaker. I hope you've all been to the restrooms because there is no break until 3 a.m., okay? Okay. So what we need to do is welcome to the stage the first and only speaker of the evening, Johnny Walker. Thank you, it's very kind of you. I think 43,000 slides. You ready? Everybody ready? Are you ready for something really fun and interesting? This stuff. Here's the real agenda. Welcome and introduction. That must just be me, I think, so. Anyway. Okay. This agenda, we are thrilled to pieces for the first time to have an Iron Viz panel. You've just seen them on stage. You've just seen the most incredible show. Andy and Keisha and the whole team pulling together that thing. We'll get them up on stage very, very soon. Then there will be a break. There will be a break. I was only joking. Obviously, it was a joke. Go to the restroom. You can get some more food, some more drink. Then we're going to have some group discussions. And we want to hear your stories, how you got involved in the community, how you got involved with Tableau. And then, of course, we have, again, another first for Fanalytics. The awards that are community awards, voted by the community, for members of the community, the Vizzies. So we've got Matt and Emily coming to do that for the first time. Yeah. Pretty cool. But there is a couple of other things we want to say. Tableau Public, you might know who the Tableau Public team is, but there's a much wider team. And I think there's a table down here. They're probably down here somewhere. But we wanted to promote the fact that our Tableau Public devs are doing the devs poolside on Friday. Here's the agenda for Friday. Please go and see them. Please go and ask questions. The community, our users, are the people who help make this product what it is. Please go and talk to them, but be nice. I will turn Tableau Public off. There is one red button. I've seen it. Well, actually, there's one in Seattle, and then I've got one wired into my house in the UK, so it'll go off. Please go there. Please do it. Okay, a little bit of crowd participation. A show of hands. Who's had a brain date so far? Who's run a brain date so far? Look at that, look at it. Brain dates, they are awesome. They're a way to connect with people in the community about the topics you want to talk about, covering any kind of message, any kind of theme to do with Tableau data analysis, to do with the community, to do with how people might get Viz block, anything. I've seen such incredible things. Please remember, the conversations that you have tonight are the start, and you have the rest of the conference to arrange a brain date, go to one of those. Rest of the conference to do it. So, little bit of housekeeping, but we've got a night full of community and celebration. So first up, for the first time ever, we have the panel discussion. But let's just do a little bit of housekeeping first. A little bit of housekeeping. In Tableau and on Tableau Public, we have our community code of conduct. So we would wish that you all sort of respect each other, be kind, be respectful, share your knowledge and ask questions. That's very important for this session, please. Right, on to our first amazing agenda item, but just one more thing. I don't know whether anybody noticed in the app, but it does actually say that Fanalytics has a dress code. Did anybody see that dress code? It doesn't appear that anybody did see the dress code. I don't like to point people out, not individuals anyway, but I think there's particularly one person who's a little untidy. So I think next year, Andy Cockgreave, if you could just make just a touch more effort. Yeah, just scruffy. Okay, without further ado, let's welcome the incredible Andy Cockgreave, who is going to moderate a question and answer panel with our amazing Iron Viz contestants that you have just seen live on stage. Bless them for coming and doing this straight after the torment of going through what they have done. Let's give them the biggest round of applause, please. Andy Cockgreave and our Iron Viz contestants.
I'm on this, right? Look at these. Well, am I on? Oh, I am on. Hey, shoot, right, here we go. Look at these three superheroes. And I'll high-five you. I didn't high-five you, so I'll high-five you. Good evening, everybody. How good was Iron Viz? We're very sorry we we ran over a little bit. The Twitter scoring turned out to be complicated. Can we just have another round of applause for these three superheroes? Yeah. So here's the plan. I'm going to ask a few questions. This panel, we're going to do about half an hour of Q&A. Am I right? Where's Johnny? Johnny's there? Half an hour-ish? 30 minutes? You can just nod. All right, well, okay. I'm going to go on for 30 minutes. But I'm not going to ask all the questions. We want to have a bunch of questions from you. So we will have two runners with microphones. And I don't know where they are, but we'll have runners. So I'll ask a few intro questions, and then you can ask them anything. All right, so for those who don't know who I am, I'm Andy Cockgreave. I'm technical evangelist at Tableau. I don't just present Iron Viz, but I downloaded Tableau version 3.5 12 years ago tomorrow. Wow. And here I am as a result of that. I fell in love with it 12 years ago. It's been the most amazing journey. I joined the company 8 years ago, and I get to host this kind of stuff and meet with all of you and just love seeing the incredible things you do. But this is not about me. So let's ask some questions of our three panelists. Find out the inside story about Iron Viz. What I first want to know is how long you've all been using Tableau Public. Now we know about Hisham. So Hisham, how are you feeling? And how long have you been using Tableau Public for?
I'm feeling like a free man.
A free man.
A free man. After those 3 weeks, I've been using Tableau since around February this year.
Since February. So, right. Joshua, how are you feeling?
A little tired.
A little tired.
Just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
And how long have you been using Tableau for?
Tableau, I believe I started using in 2015. Tableau
Right.
Public specifically would have been, I think, beginning of 2017.
All right, okay. All right, Lindsay, how are you feeling?
Tired and hungry, but
Tired and
lots over. And I've been using Tableau for 5 years.
5 years, right. So, 5 years, 4 years, less than a year. Who here has entered IronViz? Who here has not entered IronViz? Who here has used the excuse, I've not been using Tableau long enough to enter IronViz? I'm sorry, right. Now, everybody can enter, right? You know, IronViz is a great way to just play with the data set, get involved, just share with the data fam and learn from the community. So Hisham has set an amazing example. And by the way, congratulations, Hisham and Joshua. Also, congratulations, Lindsay. You were amazing too. Right. Now, you're all first-time participants in IronViz, so I want to know from each of you, what made you choose this year? Like, you've obviously not entered for a few years. You've just dived straight in. So, Lindsay, what made you enter this year?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me, usually when the IronViz starts, is the topic of the data. I like if it's not something that I'm super interested in, or like, and I don't tend to be like a person that's super into like finding the data and like doing all the different data preps and all that stuff. I just kind of like to have my clean data. So if it's not easy for me to find it, then I tend to steer away from it. And so this year when it was the music theme, it was the first time where like I actually had an idea right away, and then I was also able to easily get the data. And so then I just kept thinking of ideas, and then was able to bring it to life for the first time. Because in the past few years, like there's been times where I've gone down the route of like starting an IronViz entry, but I've never actually like finished one. So this was the first time where those two kind of came together.
And because your feeder was the emotional valence of Broadway, am I right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's obviously a topic that's close to your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of ideas once I saw the topic, and so it just made it a lot easier to like do something I was passionate about.
That's something, I mean, it's a lot easier to analyze data you care about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Has anybody not been to the Viz gallery yet? Oh, look, you're all superheroes. One or two people have not been to the Viz gallery. I mean, well, most people have. Just go and check. Make sure you check it out. You can go and see all of their Vizzes hung beautifully. Joshua, what made you enter this year?
Same thing. It's the topic. I know farming might not have been interesting for most of the people out there. Hopefully I made it a little bit so. There we go. There we go. There's two of us in here. But I grew up in farmland, and so I read the news and see marketing and see the bad and inaccurate facts that we're fed all the time about how farming works. And so this seemed like an opportunity to dig into data and find what some of that truth was, and then also add some of the experience I have from growing up in farmland and create something that was a little bit more representative of how farming actually works.
Brilliant. And so, Hisham, the question has to be a bit different for you because you just dove straight in. And what made you think, I've only been using Tableau 10 months, I'm going in for it anyway?
So I entered the feeder because I saw many blogs by Sarah Bartlett and Chris Love and Ken Fröhlich about how important and how the journey to enter IronViz is kind of, they learn a lot kind of when they enter it. So I just wanted to enter. I wanted to enter actually the music feeder, but then by that time I was finishing off at the data school. But then I got the chance to kind of spend time with this. Yeah.
And Josh, can I talk about, you wrote an amazing blog post about that IronViz entry. Did anybody read Josh's blog post? Right. If you haven't, go and check it out because he wrote about how, well, in fact, tell us what you wrote about because I thought it was really interesting. It's a really good story.
I wrote about the length of the process and where my hours were. Kind of a key point there is that most of my hours, a very, very small sliver of my hours were actually spent in Tableau. A massive amount of the work was a combination of feedback between talking with actual farmers. I grew up in farmland, but thought I knew a lot about farming and found out I really didn't. I just assumed a lot about my neighbors that were working with livestock and crops. working with them, and then also working with people that I think approximated to the general public, people that wouldn't necessarily have a strong interest or experience in data, in visual analytics, or in farming, and wanted to make something that was approachable to those groups, but also passed the accuracy test for the farmers.
Great, thank you. So you all entered your feeders, the qualifiers, and then at some point an email or a phone call arrived that said, congratulations, you are going to build a Viz in front of thousands of people. What was that moment like, Lindsay?
I found out, because I got a Twitter notification from Mark, actually, that he said congratulations, and I was like, oh gosh, what does that mean? So I was excited. Part of why I never entered was I was very terrified of the idea of getting on stage and presenting in front of people, because it's very outside of my comfort zone. And so I was like, oh, I have an idea, I'll make a Viz. It's like what I would do this even if it wasn't Iron Viz. It's fun, I'm not gonna win. And so I didn't really even think there was any possibility that I would end up here. And so that kind of helped. So when I saw that, I was like, oh gosh,
yeah.
what do I do now? But then it was worth it. So everyone entered. It's not as scary as you think.
Yeah. What was it like when you found out? Did you have that excitement or fear, Joshua?
I should not repeat on a microphone the words that I said. I also found out through a Twitter notification, and I was excited is the wrong word. Very terrified. There was a little bit of excitement in there, but very, very, very terrified for the exact same reasons.
And you've had a long time to be terrified because you won the first qualifier.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's terrible. Just
Months
and months of terror.
Yeah, you've come in fresh, right? You only found out 5 weeks ago.
Yes.
How was that moment?
No, that wasn't fresh. That was kind of not exhausting, but I didn't recover from the feeder. I just spent a lot of time on it.
Right.
And actually, when I knew that I won, regardless that I kept jumping in the flat, I started to know the rules and what I have to do. I didn't see a show, an Iron Viz show before that. I was just entering for. I did. I think people are telling me that I did a good Viz, but I wasn't entering for the sake of kind of winning. I was entering for the sake of entering.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And okay, so then, all right, let's talk about this process. So you got the data set, 3 weeks ago? Can you share some of the roller coaster that last 3 weeks might have been? Anybody want to go first? None of you?
I think
Go
the
on,
hardest
Lindsay.
part, anytime you are just given a data set and you don't have any direction of what you're trying to achieve, you don't, usually in a business setting or what you do every day, you have a data set. It might not be the most interesting or something you're passionate about, but you have stakeholders and you have all these questions you're trying to answer. So when you just get a data set and it's just do whatever you want with it, there's a lot of just thinking of okay, well, what direction do I want to go? What questions do I want to answer? And
So how long did it take you to find the story?
about 2.5 weeks.
Which took you till what?
Yeah, I didn't build my dashboard until Sunday.
Until
And
Sunday.
I practiced on Monday for the first time, so cut it a little close. But I was trying to really explore the data and find something that was interesting to me and something that felt like it was my style, and so it just took me a little ways to get there.
And you use Tableau Prep Builder as well?
Yes.
And when did you learn Tableau Prep Builder?
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Thanks
Give it up
to,
for
I don't know if
Lindsay. That's
Joshua
awesome,
Milligan
right?
is here, but his blog helped a lot.
How about you, Joshua? Can you take us through the highs and lows?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest struggles was really understanding the data generating process, where that data came from, especially as we're looking at what data was missing and thinking about okay, these are SIC codes. What is a SIC code? How is that assigned? Where are the biases in the data that I'm not seeing because someone in some government agency is assigning the SIC code? Really understanding how that's shaping the data that we're seeing, which became the entire theme of that second dashboard, was really critical and really difficult. I also wanted to be very cognizant of the fact that I'm a white male talking about a really sensitive topic, and I don't know what my blind spots are. And so I really wanted to reach out to a lot of people and talk to them about things that I'm not supposed to talk about, given that the data was supposed to be confidential. So that ended up with reading a handful of books on this topic, and it really did change a lot of the vocabulary, a lot of the words on my dashboard, as I realized that there were things that were blind spots to me that I thought were perfectly normal ways to talk about it.
Can you
and
give
I
a
learned
specific
lot.
example?
Melting pot was originally a word that was in my original script, talking about the United States as a melting pot. And in one of the books that I read that talked about the impact of international cuisine, they talked about how it's really easy for white people to talk about America as a melting pot. Because we're assimilating other cultures, but other people might not feel as comfortable. They might not feel like we've really been a melting pot. And when I read that, it really, I just looked at that phrasing and looked at my script and thought, uh-oh, there's a blind spot.
Yeah.
And so that kind of research really helped, and it was tricky to get to that level.
Right. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. Hisham, has it been plain sailing the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, it took me around 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to find a story. My biggest challenge was to find a story and to find consistency within the data sets, kind of. And to find something that I'm genuinely interested in, that people would like as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my biggest challenge, yeah.
I mean, I think you've all said, I mean, it's a reflection of any data exploration, right? Most of the sweat is in finding the story, and then once you get that. Did any of you find a story, go down an avenue, and then find a more interesting story and curse yourself that you've wasted all that time because now you've got it? Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there, right? Right. So tell us a little bit about the build. I mean, Hisham, you went down this like curvy path, right? So you obviously did a bunch of stuff with your data in order to facilitate those charts. Can you talk about how you did that? The balloon chart, as I recall. Right.
So I plotted X and Y's for the dot plots and their corresponding bars, because I couldn't kind of align all of them on top of each other because we have cuisines, more cuisines than countries. So I densified the data and was able to float everything on top of each other to get to that.
So you had loads of transparent sheets on top of each other. Is that how you built that?
Yeah, I had on the right side 3 for 3 charts, but on the left side I had 4 maps on top of each other.
I love it.
Yeah, a base map and a line and another transparent base, and
It's pretty cool.
the 4th one that I don't remember
Right.
anymore.
And can you tell us a little bit about the experience, right? You know, I think it's fair to. Am I okay to say you're all quite introverted? No objection to that. What was it like, just walking out on that stage and thinking, "Oh my God, this is what I'm going to do"? Joshua?
So you know that like wall that lifted up? That was my like last minute panic wall. I knew that there were like bars that I could cling to, and so that it would rise up. And like here's everybody but Josh. And so like I had that as my crutch. It was overwhelming, and the support from everybody in the audience. I think the one thing I could keep clinging to is you kept telling me everybody wants us to succeed. And that was really meaningful to me, because if I build a dashboard and like screw up along the way, you get a less pleasant experience. So that was enlightening for me to think about the fact that the better I do, the better the experience is for all of you. So you are all hoping for that. I think you were. You seem to be cheering that way. There were lots of wavy glow things out in the audience.
Yeah, you guys were brilliant today.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Even as I was ad-libbing and stalling and making up stuff, most of you were all still going with us. It was great. Thank you, everybody. Lindsay, well, can you capture it, the experience?
Yeah, I think it really helped, like having them, like all of us together. We were all like very nervous and scared, and like yesterday we walked into the arena for the first time, and we were just like, oh my gosh, this is so big. But then we had like so many like rehearsals and just like talking about how nervous we all were, that it kind of made it feel a little bit easier. I know, like personally for me, like I obviously love Broadway shows, and it's like a very Broadway entrance to have some type of big reveal. So like, this is the closest I'll ever get to being on a stage.
Hisham, did you manage to take it in and enjoy any of it?
It was very tough for me. So all the time I was feeling I'm the underdog to these guys, and so all my purpose and everyone was telling me it's okay, you're doing well. All my goal was I knew that both of them would do visualization, 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. I was
Yeah.
trying to get close to the 7 or to 8.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Coming here, I didn't feel time. I wasn't thinking about anything but the visualization. My supervisor just suffered with me. Every time I asked him the same question, the same hour, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. That was brilliant. The supervisors were amazing. You were all amazing. All right. I think I've asked too many questions. It's time to open it up to everybody here. Who wants to ask an Iron Viz contestant a question? 1, 2, loads of people. Here we go. We have Johnny shouting at me. Oh, there's a mic there. Right. Questions down at the front. Who else? Right. Johnny, go down to Neil.
Come on then, Neil.
So just before we, who else has a mic? Right, Rasta. So you, yeah, okay. Rasta, you go find somebody, the next person, and I'll come to you next. Say your name and then ask your question.
Hi, I'm Neil. I'm one of the Tableau Public ambassadors. Lorna's telling me to stand up. We've already discussed I'm a bit scared of Lorna, so I'm standing up. Amazing, you three. I couldn't decide who was going to win. I was sat with Zen Masters and ambassadors, and the biggest cheer, or the most excitement came in the first 10 seconds. And somebody said, wow, did you see what Lindsay just did? And I said, no, I blinked. And I had people explain, and I think I get it, and all I know is that I want to go and learn what it was you just did to get so much in there so quickly. Because I can teach that, but I need to understand it first.
Do you want to explain what you did in that first 10 seconds? Because it was pretty special.
Well, should we know that when everyone was cheering, it distracted me, and I totally messed up what I was doing, and I missed like adding half my calculations into it, so I had to go back and do that later. But basically, all I did is I had like a notepad of all the calculations I wanted to write, and then I did like a / and then the name of it, and then with the calculation below. And so if you just I copied that from Notepad, and then I made a new calculation, and I pasted all of mine in there, and then if you just highlight whatever you want, you can just drag and drop it. So I dropped it over to the field, so it made the calculations, but it's not something I usually do like in my everyday life, because I don't like not trying to build something in 20 minutes, but you can also, if you drag anything from the calculation editor into like the rows or the columns, or you can like just drag it anywhere and it will add it to your viz, so you don't have to like physically create your calculation.
That was brilliant. I loved hearing those cheers.
Amazing. It wasn't just that was amazing. Your whole viz was amazing, but all three were. Well then.
All right, Rasta, where are you? Rasta's there. Okay, who's next? Stand up, tell us your name.
Hi there.
Away.
I'm Paul. I'm a forums ambassador. So just want to first off say great job to the three of you. Really in awe of all the work you put into it before and just up there during the competition. Just amazing job. So I've noticed the last few Iron Vizzes that animation and the pages shelf has played a large part, especially the last two winners have happened to use it. I noticed tonight none of the three of you chose to use animation, so what went into thinking about that, and how did you ultimately decide not to?
All right, so the question is no page shelf. Well, not sure that's quite true, but no animations. Any reasons why? Joshua?
Didn't need it. Honestly, I don't know. I really wanted to build something that was easy for people to interact with, right? So my wife was constantly my guinea pig. That was one of the two people I was allowed to share this with, was my wife and my sous chef. And I knew she's not a data person, she's not a viz person, and I knew if I built something that she would want to like take out of my hands and click and play around with, it'd win. And I felt like just a simple design that just click, 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 play, discover was what was needed.
Awesome. Hisham, do you want to say anything about, because you did use the page shelf, or was that a filter?
No, that was a parameter.
Right.
I truncated it to look like an underline. But I didn't need a pages shelf for my visualization. I don't have time series, and that was one of my biggest challenges as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was no time series in the data set, was there?
Yeah.
No. Lindsay, any other comments on that?
Same thing. I don't really like ever use animation in anything I ever do, so I didn't feel like there was like a genuine need to add it to what I was doing, and there wasn't like anything I would add it to would just be like I could have, switched between the different maps or something, but it wouldn't really have been that much value other than just to like be like for show. So.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Johnny, have you got your next question lined up? Oh, you almost hit somebody in the face then.
My apologies, Ravi.
Rasta, have you got the mic lined up? All right, we're all ready. Johnny, you need to be on it quick.
He's one of the ambassadors.
Right,
and I
who's
nearly
over here?
punched
We'll
him
go
in
to
the
Rasta.
face.
Rasta, go. All right, go. Stand up.
Hello. I'm Mark.
Johnny, hang on. Johnny, find somebody for a question. Right, okay, good. Go.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Oh,
I'm a
we've got
social
two
ambassador. Great work, everyone. All fantastic. I'm interested in how the process you went through in both the feeders and the work that you put in 3 weeks up until tonight have changed the way you think you'll approach your work in the future.
How do you think the feeder and final process will change what you do in the future? Ooh, good question. Is it going to change what you do in the future, Hisham?
No, no.
Nope.
I wouldn't change anything.
All right, Joshua?
If we're thinking about how that's going to impact my future work, don't anyone dare tell my stakeholders that I can build a dashboard in 20 minutes.
Although, to be fair, you didn't really, but right, yeah. Okay, Lindsay?
Yeah, I was to say nothing other than the fact that now I don't have to ever think about entering Iron Viz again, or at least for a while. I've had my fair share.
You now know how to use Tableau Prep.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Oh,
but we're not allowed to use it at Wells Fargo, so it's not very...
Who's your account manager? We'll get onto that. Right, okay. All right, Johnny, Sean.
Hello.
Go.
Hipster Viz Ninja here. So the question I had was talking about, there's a lot of sessions that we're going to listen to this week that have to talk about the iteration process. So I was just curious, from your very first prototype, and so Lindsay, you said you first built your prototype Sunday night, to the final product that you had tonight, what differences, if any, at the macro or micro level, did you make, and what input was the most valuable from your supervisor?
Did you get that? So I think the question was the evolution from the first version of the dashboard to the final one we saw tonight.
The iteration process and the relationship with your supervisor.
And the relationship with what?
The supervisor.
The relationship with the supervisors. Oh, sorry, it's really hard to hear the questions, isn't it, right? Yeah. So the question was, talk about the evolution and how the supervisors helped? Yes. Right. Did you get that now? Evolution from version 1 to the final one, and how did the supervisors influence that? Let's go Joshua first.
My supervisor will tell you that we had a come to Jesus talk at one point because there was the data set that I was very comfortable, very familiar with on the demographic data. And so I was looking at these trends and saying, like, look, these lines move different directions. This is cool. Watch, I click something and it moves. And she pushed back and was very honest and very truthful and very direct and said, I don't know that this is the story. It's a frustrating thing to wake up to on a Saturday morning at like 4 a.m. and you're like, I'm ready to crank this out. And then you hear that like, you're not heading down the right direction. If she hadn't have said that, I would not be splitting a trophy in half with Hisham. It was incredibly valuable. And I'm really grateful that she provided that feedback.
Mm-hmm. Great. Lindsay?
Yeah, I would say my process, I was very much just exploring the data, and once I kind of wrapped my head around just like exploring the data, I turned to paper and I just like drew out what I wanted to do. So I probably drew like 3 or 4 different things, but the last drawing I did looks pretty much exactly like what I did. So that helps a lot. And then Mark and I pretty much just like shared a lot of ideas back and forth, trying to like figure out what direction to go. And then we kind of like sat down once I kind of finalized what I wanted to do and talked through like what makes sense, what doesn't, what things should I change or add. So it was really valuable to have that feedback on just everything overall.
Cool. Great. Thanks, Lindsay. Hisham.
My version 1 was a tour around the US, and I finished it 1 week after having the data set. But then last week I decided to scrap all that off. I just didn't feel myself doing it. And I decided to do something I'm genuinely interested in. I wasn't sure that people would like this, but then I came here with the Viz and didn't just put my story together. I know there's something there, but I think my supervisor helped me a lot put my story together and give it to everyone.
I think you certainly inadvertently won the crowd by just showing who's from Brazil, who's from Mexico, who's from the UK. Always a winner, right? Play the crowd. In fact, actually, Joshua, I want to call you out for the best answer about the color palettes as well. Was that not cool? Back at you, judges. I love that. All right. Who's got a microphone? I'm seeing over here. Audrey has.
Hi, my name's Tim. So it's kind of a similar question, unfortunately, but I was just struck by, with the same data, there were 3 completely different stories up there, and you all talked a lot about how getting familiar and understanding the data was a very important part of that. What did that look like? How did you work within the data? Was it within Tableau? Was it outside of Tableau? And come to realize this is the story I want to tell.
So the question was, how did you decide on your story, right? Yeah. How did you finalize that story?
So as soon as I looked at the data set and I found cuisines and countries, I wanted to do connectedness between countries and see different cuisines. Discussing that, then I thought that people wouldn't like something like this, and I decided to do the tour for McDonald's around the US. But then I looked at it and I changed everything, and I just decided to do something I'm interested in, because you're gonna see it in my face. If I don't like something, you're gonna see it in my face. So yeah, I decided to go with what I wanted since the beginning.
All right, great. Joshua, am I right in saying your story kind of fits your passions as well about things?
When I saw the international cuisine and knew there was something there, but I tripped over the biggest part of the story, the who's missing, because I went to find the actual restaurant that my friend took me to, and I couldn't find it. And so we sent some emails back and forth, and they mentioned sick codes, and I was like, what's a sick code? And I kept digging, and then I found the forms that employers fill out, and I was like, this employer just literally writes on one line. It's just free text. They get one teeny tiny line to fill it out, and then the government assigns based on that. And I started understanding why these restaurants aren't in the data, and I started thinking about what else isn't there.
Yeah.
And so it was tripping over that really got me to that key story.
That's nice. That's great. How about you, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think I started by, well, the first thing I did was looking at how many Chipotles there were. And then just because I was trying to get familiar with the data, and that was the first thing I saw. And then I filtered the data down to where I'm from in Kansas and where I live now in New York to try to get a familiarity of what there was, and since that's what I'm used to every day. And then once just kind of looking at that, I think the thing that struck out to me was just some of the smaller places that I was familiar with weren't necessarily in the data or wasn't how I expected. And so I was like, well, there is 28,000 subways in the United States, so let's see how I can go with that.
Fantastic. Right. Bronwyn, how long? We're going to a later point, right?
That's our last question, I'm
afraid. That was our last
Andy.
question. I've got one last question. Would you recommend other people enter IronViz? 100%.
It's a lot of work, but yes.
Yes, it's totally worth it.
Totally worth it. There you go. I want to see you all entering next year. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you, Andy. I will hand you back to Johnny. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Hey, come on, another bigger round of applause for these guys. And IronViz and the whole team, the Vizzies, our whole production team who have been incredible. Was that not the best entrance for any IronViz that has ever been in history? I think it was. It was pretty cool. Whilst I was running around there, I just sort of, does anybody get, it sort of made me a little bit hot, just need to cool down a little bit. Anyway, whilst I'm up here, I also always feel a little bit warm. Does anybody else get that with presenting? They're just a little bit hot. Anyway, whatever. Okay. You can help me out therefore here. A little bit of crowd participation. What are we here for? Give me an F. Give me an A. Give me an N. Thank you. That's so much nicer. Thank you for your help there. That's perfect. Okay. Oh, this is nice. Thank you. You do help me out. every year. Okay. We're going to shift things around a little bit. We're going to move things around. We're not going to have a break right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the most amazing community awards that exist. So I'm going to have a quick look at these awards. Let's have a quick look at some of the things that we've got coming up. We have the Tableau Wannabe Podcast Biggest Growth. We have the Tableau Wannabe Podcast Awards Best Blog. We have Tableau Wannabe Podcast Awards Community Member Who Never Stops Tweeting About His Dog on Twitter. That's mine. We also have, what else do we have? Oh, hey, one of my favorites, Elissa F-Bomb Fink, a.k.a. Hackfist. That's awesome. Community member who never stops talking about a green fluffy parrot and promoting it in Tableau conferences, the Kakapaw. I'll take that one too. That's mine, thank you. And last but not least, the member of the community who never stops going on and on and on and on and on and on about maps. That's mine too. Okay, I'll take those. Let's welcome to the stage our wonderful host of the Vizzies, Matt Francis and Emily Kund. Here they come.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I figured I had to kind of match Taha and Andy Cockreeve, so here we are. Thank you. And then Matt, only half got the message, so. Nice. All right, so let's get this party started, Matt. We are your hosts, Matt and Emily. Amazing, thanks. Okay, so we co-host the Tableau Wannabe podcast, and thank you. We're going strong in I don't know how many years, but we have over 200 episodes now, so that's really amazing, at least I think. And also to up the nerd level, if you abbreviate Tableau Wannabe podcast, you get TWP, which is very similar to a certain workbook extension. So, nerd level unlocked. So we wanted to do something to really recognize the Tableau community, and in a way that was really meaningful. And so we created the podcast awards, the Vizzies. And we have several categories tonight: Notable Newbie, Best Blog, Data Storyteller Extraordinaire, the Kelly Martin Best Designer. We actually renamed this award in honor of Kelly. Yeah, clap that up. And if you don't know Kelly, you know somebody who was influenced by her. We also have Server Guru, and we also renamed the Hackiest Award to Tableau Can Fucking Do That. That's not what the slide says, but you know that Elissa Fink would say that, who's the former CMO. We have one that's the most technically sound, Data Do-Gooder, Biggest Growth, Must Run on Coffee or Coke, Favorite Viz of the Year, and one of my favorites, the Michael W. Cristiani Community Leadership Award. And if you don't know Michael, he passed away last year, and if you weren't impacted by him, you know somebody who was. So these are a way for us to celebrate the community. And so with that, Matt, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight this year, that not everybody can win, but I think it's really important to show just how many people got a nomination. So this year, 161 people were recognized for something they did by somebody else and got a nomination, which I think is pretty incredible. But in saying that, some people have won. So, the first award is the most notable newbie. I'm not going to read out the nominations. I would have done, but Johnny took up too much time. So the most notable newbie award is for somebody who's relatively new to the Tableau community, but they've already made a big impact through their blogging, their public work, their speaking. And the award this year goes to Adam Miko. Adam can't be here tonight, so accepting his award is Simon Beaumont.
We'll just call out random people if you're not here. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, next up is Best Blog. You see the nominees, but this is the blog that you can turn to whenever you have a question on how to do something. Matt, I also wanted to mention that certain people are excluded from winning the awards. Us, because, I mean, obviously, we would win everything. But also Zen Masters are also excluded because they have their own set of recognition. And so we wanted to really nominate the folks who are under that radar. So the winner for the best blog is Kevin Flange. Kevin, are you here? And for those who are going, why is this so funny? Because it's not, it's not funny?
No, it's not me.
It's because Kevin gets confused with his brother, and also your last name, for some people, is hard to pronounce, Flairledge. So, Kevin Flange. Congratulations, Kevin Flairledge.
So next up we have Data Storyteller Extraordinaire. And this award goes to somebody who can weave a data story and make a real impact with what they've done. And the award today goes to somebody who we all saw demonstrate extraordinary storytelling, Joshua Smith.
All right, next up, we have the Kelly Martin Best Designer Award. You can see the nominees here. This is the person who designs beautiful and informative visualizations. But before we announce the winner, I'd invite Bridget Cogley to come up and say a few words.
Beauty is meaningful design. We all take into account the design of our dashboards. It is communication. It's not simply making something pretty or making it blue. It is making something compelling that tells a story that gets an action taken. It's something that encompasses the whole part of the dashboard. It's elegance. And so Kelly Martin would tell you that. The other thing she would tell you is do not search for executive dashboards. I've heard that search has gotten better, but still, just for your sake and clarity, don't do it.
Thank you, Bridget. Kelly was amazing in her design. And so the winner of the Kelly Martin Best Designer Award is Samo Droll.
Accepting on behalf of Samo Droll is Simon Beaumont. You know, if you go to a stand-up comedy gig, you never sit on the first couple of rows. If you're going to an award show, don't sit within eye line. The next award is for Server Guru, the unsung heroes of the data viz world. These are the people that make you look good. By enabling you to publish your beautifully designed dashboards, so you can share them with your organization. This year, the award goes to Mark Kernke, and Jonathan McDonald. Accepting both of these awards is the Server Guru's Server Guru, Mr. Paul Benoob.
Our next award is Tableau Can Fucking Do That. The Elissa F-Bomb Award, also known as the Hackiest. And when you look at this person's work, you think, Tableau can do that? The winner this year of the Hackiest Award is Alex Varlamov. Now, who's accepting this? Oh, I can pick somebody. Okay. Corey. Congratulations.
So next up is the most technically sound, and this award goes to someone who knows Tableau inside out. It's like they developed it because they just know everything there is to know about it. And the winner goes to Kevin Florlage. Florlage.
Our next award is the Data Do-Gooder. This is somebody who's trying to save the world one data set at a time. The winner for this year is Lindsay Betzendahl. Lindsay put together Project Health Viz and has made just an amazing impact with that, so congratulations. You're welcome.
Our next award is for the biggest growth. So this is for somebody that has demonstrated through their visualizations or their advice how much they've come on significantly over the last year. And this year we have two winners. Zach Bowders. And Pradeep Kumar. You shouldn't look at me and shake your head, Lorna, should you? You don't sit at the front row, you don't make eye contact.
Our next award is Must Run on Coffee or Coke, because they never seem to sleep because they're always contributing. The winner for this year is Kevin Fariage. I mean, I think before you leave here, you need to like Amazon Prime a shelf. Congratulations.
Our next award is Viz of the Year. So we asked people to nominate their favorite Viz of the year. And the winner was this one. That's pretty good. And the one is Januszka de Oliveira.
This is our last. All right, so our last award is the Michael W. Cristiani Community Leadership Award. This is somebody who empowers, engages, and connects with the Tableau community. They may organize meetups, user groups. They're consistently sharing blog posts. And there's somebody who either formally or informally provides mentoring and training. Now, if you know Michael, he was a quiet leader, but he really made an impact and helped connect all of us. And so the winner for this year is Kevin Fleurlage. Congratulations. You have contributed so much to this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the name was correct. All right, so our time is up, but I do want to thank everybody who submitted nominations. We saw a really good growth in the number of people who were nominated this year, and I hope that that continues on next year, because it's so amazing to be recognized by your peers for the work that you do. Thank you. And Johnny, I'll turn it over to you.
I'm here somewhere. I was lurking. Thank you so much, everybody. Well done to all the community members who've won awards. You're going to have to come this way. Thank you so much. Awesome as ever. Thank you for doing everything you do for the community. You know, the community is about sharing, and so what I'm thinking is, Kevin. Oh God, no, I'm going to cry as well. But boy, does he deserve these. Hey, Kevin, the community is about sharing. Can you share some of those around with other people if possible? Stop just being so good. Okay. We do want you to have some group sessions. That's what we're going to do now. We appreciate we didn't have the break earlier on. Please feel free, go back to get some more food, get a drink. But on your tables are some questions. You've heard stories tonight about the community. You've heard stories about the Iron Viz contestants. And what we want to hear is your stories. did you start out using Tableau? How did you start out using Tableau? Did you get involved with Tableau Public first? Did you start out in the forums? Did you start out at the user groups? The data fam is all about you and the community, and this is what we want to hear about, and this is the feedback that we really want to hear from you now. As I say, please feel free to go to the restrooms, and I will do some polite notices. They'll not be so polite when it gets to about a minute. I'll probably shout at you to come back. But this is what we want you to do. Tell us our stories. So, up next, please, group discussions, okay? Go! Thank you. Hello, everybody. You don't have to sit down, but please face this way just for a few last messages. Please. Thank you. Okay, Fanalytics. 2 things we still want you to do if you haven't done them yet. Please do not forget to sign up for a brain date. There's still 2 more days of the conference. Get involved, create one, go along to one and do that. They're just the most wonderful opportunity for the community to learn from each other. Please go along and do those. And then, of course, Devs Poolside, they are down there. They're going to be around. They may have some sort of odd costumes or something. It's worth going to see for that. I laughed out loud when I saw them. Please go to Devs Poolside on Friday. Chat to our devs. Go and say hello. You guys are the guys that are using this product all the time. All they ever want is feedback. Be it great. Yeah, but be nice. As I said before, I do have a remote button to turn Tableau Public off. Please complete the survey. It helps every single session across TC. So please get onto the survey, complete it for Fanalytics. We would truly, dearly appreciate that. No, you're almost allowed to go home if you want to go home. No. So, a huge, big thank you for coming over today and tonight. And, I mean, you astound us. The community astounds us every day. The team literally constantly lives with their jaws on the floor, just at the amazing creativity, willingness to share knowledge, willingness to be so nice, help each other out. I have nothing else left to say except enjoy the rest of your conference, enjoy the rest of this evening. But never, ever stop creating amazing things. Never stop being simply amazing. Stop helping each other. You are Tableau. So thank you so much, everybody, for this evening. Thank you. Cheers to everybody. I wasted some. Thank you so much.